Shalom Lecholechem. Alright, today we're discussing Tehillim, chapter 22 and verse 17. For some, depending on what translation you read, it will be verse 16, just so we're all on the same page. Alright, let's get straight to it without playing any games. So, the controversy surrounding this verse here is due to this word here, ka'ari. This is how the word appears in the Dead Sea Scrolls. We see the kaf, we see the aleph, we see the resh, and we would see what appears to be a waw instead of a yod. This would appear to be a yod, and we could see the distinction between the two. One is shorter and one is longer. So let's just read the first clause of the verse. Kithim babuni kelabim aldat mer'in hikifuni. For they surround me, dogs, a congregation of evil ones surround me. So we understand from the first clause that the speaker here, which is King David, in my opinion, is saying that dogs are surrounding him. And these dogs are a congregation of evil doers, and they are surrounding him. So dogs are not literally surrounding King David. It's the congregation of the evil ones, the evildoers that are surrounding him. And they're being compared to dogs. Not only are they compared to dogs, they're compared to other things as well, like bulls and, wild beasts of the field. We see that here. Sebabuni parim rabin. They surround me. Bulls, many bulls. All right, so this is language that we see within the psalm itself, that animals are likened to, or evildoers are likened to wild animals such as dogs and bulls. Now let's cover why this word should be like a lion, and then after we discuss that, then we will discuss why it's not pierced. So we would know that this kaf here is a preposition. It's not part of the root. So for an example, if we cover this kaf up, we're left with aleph, resh, yod. And let's have a look and see what aleph, resh, yod means in biblical Hebrew. So what I did was I typed in the spelling that we have for Psalms 22 and verse 17 or 16, kaf, aleph, resh, yod. And we have 4 times where it appears inside the Tanakh. 1, Numbers chapter 24, verse 9, Isaiah chapter 38, verse 13, Ezekiel chapter 22, verse 25, and then, of course, Psalms 22, verse 17. Now, in each of these translations we have, he crouched, he lay down as a lion. Kara, shachab, ka'ari, like a lion. Isaiah chapter 38, verse 13 says, I wait for morning as a lion. Ka'ari, same vocalization system that we see in Psalm 22. A kamatz on the kaf, a half vowel on the aleph, and then here you go on the resh with the yod. Notice they have it as a lion. In Ezekiel chapter 22, verse 25, we have, there is a conspiracy of her prophets in her midst, like a roaring lion tearing the prey. So we have the word again, ka'ari. All right, so notice we had 3 witnesses that this spelling and vocalization system is like a lion. Let's also take note of that we see the word lion appear 3 times in this chapter. Here in verse 14, here in verse 17, and here in verse 22. Save me from the mouth of a lion. So even within the framework of Psalm 22, like a lion wouldn't be foreign language or vocabulary for this chapter because it is used 3 times. The word lion is used 3 times in the chapter. And let's talk about the kaf here. Again, the kaf is a preposition meaning like or as. It's not a part of the root. So now let's discuss why the word isn't pierce or dig. So just like I did with ka'ari, to get any Bible verses that supports it saying like a lion, I did the same for ka'aru. And notice we have no instances of when this word is found. The reason that this word isn't found anywhere in the entire Tanakh is because it means nothing. Ka'aru doesn't mean anything according to the biblical text. Even if we take off the wav here, right? Because the wav, all it's supposed to indicate is third person masculine plural. And this is how you get they pierced in translations that people use. And to be fair, I took the wav out and I just left what people think is the root, ka'ar, which means to pierce according to some people, to see what we can get. And we have one instance where it's found, and that's in Amos. So let's look at this. Shall not the land tremble for this, and everyone mourn who dwells in it? And it shall all rise up like the river. All right, so here we have ka'or. Ka'or, again, the kaf is like the preposition, like or as. It's not even included with the root. So even then, we don't have ka'ar, meaning pierce. Now, if we want to look for the word pierce or dig, we would do this. Now, this is the spelling that we would look for, kara. Let's prove it. He made a pit, digging it out. So the word that they use for digging would be kara. Notice we don't have an aleph in the middle of the resh and the kaf, because the aleph will cause the word to mean something else besides dig or pierce. Now, if we want the conjugation they pierce, what we have to do is drop the hay off and add the wav here. All right. Remember, in the Dead Sea Scrolls, it appears to be a wav. So this is what people are hanging their hats on. But again, even with that, kaf, aleph, resh, wav, as we just saw before, does not appear in the Bible, nor does it mean anything. So this verse says, Karuli Sedin Shitoth, which translates to us, the arrogant dug pits for me. So it's literally they dug pits for me. How do we know it's they? It's karu. This is the plural conjugation, third person, masculine singular. Then zedim. Zedim here are the arrogant ones. So this is plural. So we have verb, subject, agreement. The same thing applies for Psalms 57 and verse 7. Again, karu, they pierce or they dig. Let's prove it. They have prepared a net for my steps. My soul is bowed down. They dug a pit before me. They dug, karu, third person, masculine plural. Aleph is missing in this equation for a very reason. So when we return to the biblical text, it simply will read, for they surround me, dogs, a congregation of evil ones, they surround me. Like a lion at my hands and my feet. Who's at his hands and his feet like a lion? The congregation of evildoers. The congregation of evildoers are compared to dogs and lions. And this is consistent throughout the narrative of Psalms. Let's take a look at verse 14 in chapter 22 of Psalms. They open wide their mouths at me like a raving and roaring lion. Verse 22, save me from the lion's mouth. All right. Ar-e. So this is like a lion and not pierce.